Even our DNA, the material of which our genes is made, is formed from chemical building blocks that are the product of such reactions. Many features of intermediary metabolism must have evolved a very long time ago, since they are common to all life forms, from bacteria to mammals. Chapter 1. But it seems natural for us to have a particular interest in our own metabolism, human metabolism. And there is good reason for that. What goes on inside us is a product not just of chemical reactions, but of a flow of information between different body parts, regulating just what happens and when. So that when I have just eaten a big meal, my cells begin to store nutrients, and when I have not eaten for some time, they will begin to release nutrients from these stores. Chapters 2 and 3. Such information flow, called metabolic regulation, is a product largely of our hormonal and nervous systems. Chapter 4. If there is one feature of intermediary or cellular metabolism that is widely known, it is perhaps the so-called Krebs cycle, called by scientists the citric acid cycle, discovered by Hans Krebs, later Professor Sir Hans Krebs. But even those who know the term may well not appreciate just what this assembly of chemical reactions does. It can be seen as the final common pathway by which all nutrients are broken down and linked to the release of energy in a form that can be used by cells for all the processes that require it. Chapter 5. The really wonderful and often not appreciated feature of our metabolism is that it is active and changing all the time. When you eat breakfast after fasting overnight, metabolism changes quickly. When you start to exercise, it changes even more quickly. During a typical day, chemical reactions in our cells are being accelerated and slowed down in a highly coordinated manner, enabling us to continue leading our daily lives without giving this matter any thought whatsoever. Chapter 6. But I rather hope that once you understand what these changes entail, you might think about them more than you probably do at present. Changes in metabolism, as just noted, are especially marked during exercise, when our muscles require a supply of energy that may come from within the muscle's own cells, or may be brought in the blood from other tissues, especially our fat stores and our liver. However we measure metabolism, there is no doubt that it is going faster when we are exercising than when we are at rest. But the opposite is true in starvation. When the body is deprived of nutrients, then metabolism is suppressed, conserving the precious stores that we have of metabolic fuels. Our carbohydrate stores are especially precious, the proteins of which our bodies are mostly built, even more so, and metabolic mechanisms come into play to preserve these for as long as possible whilst living off our usually plentiful fat stores. The way these changes are brought about in starvation and in exercise is a fascinating aspect of our metabolism that presumably evolved to allow our ancestors to chase, or run from, other animals, and to survive, even when no food was forthcoming. Chapter 7. There is a tendency nowadays to regard carbohydrates, fats, and proteins as separate entities, which can each be considered in isolation. This cannot be the view of anyone who has seriously studied human metabolism. The metabolic fates of the three major energy-providing nutrients are, of necessity, intimately intertwined. Our bodies are all the time drawing upon individual nutrients for particular needs. Indeed, each of our tissues has its own preferences for particular fuels at different times. And all these requirements must be coordinated. Metabolic scientists now understand many ways in which the metabolic fates of the nutrients interrelate. At a very basic level, all energy-providing nutrients, including alcohol, feed into the same cellular mechanism for final disposal, the citric acid, or Krebs, cycle, mentioned earlier. They have to share this pathway, and just like family members sharing a bathtub, they cannot all get in at once. In Chapter 8, we will explore the mechanisms that prevent overcrowding. But of course, like any other finely tuned